Matt DeVries here for ESPN 100.9 FM. We're out at Dow High School getting ready for Week 3 of the high school football season and our SVL Game of the Week between Saginaw Heritage and Dow High. And we're joined now by Dow head coach Jason Watkins. And a solid start to the season for you guys, 2-0, 2 big wins for you guys. How have you felt about your team's performance through the first 2 weeks of the season?
Well, we had a really good offseason again this year. Good senior leadership, guys doing what they needed to do, coming to workouts, putting in the time, and so it's great to see all that effort kind of validated early on. It's early in the season, though, and teams are kind of finding their way. Mount Pleasant had a lot of guys lost to graduation last year, and so I think you're going to see them get better as the season goes on, and Bay City Western down with a couple of injuries, but, I think we executed really well on offense. Our defense is kind of a work in progress, but we're coming forward, and our special teams have been pretty solid, so, we made those kind of improvements in the first couple of weeks of the season that you want. So now the question is, can we keep going forward? Because everybody's going to get better from one week to the next. So we need to keep working and not get complacent.
As a coach, you're always going to be looking for ways to improve as well. You're 2-0, but it's a long season, and you want to be prepared for anything. So as you've kind of looked at your first 2 games, what are you looking to improve on as a team?
Well, I think we can always focus on our execution. We can always find places within our offense where, did we finish each block? Did we finish each run? Were we fundamentally sound? Did all 11 guys hit at the same time? Defensively, I think it's an execution thing. It's an assignment thing. Did everybody play their assignments? Did we rally to the football? Did we play fast with maximum effort? And then special teams. Execution's another word in special teams. Did we control the hidden yardage? Was our coverage as good as it could be? Were our lanes good in our return game? Did we get on our assignments and stay on our assignments? So there's all those little things we can refine. And the film, we have a lot of film that we watch, and the kids put some time in over the weekends watching film also, and that really helps. There's no trade-off to that.
Let's talk about Alec Marty a little bit, your quarterback. 2 career starts under his belt right now, and with those 2 good wins for you guys, he's looked pretty good for him. What have you seen from Alec at quarterback so far this season?
Well, Alec has got a great personality to play quarterback because he's one of those guys, he doesn't get too far up and he doesn't get too far down. So good things happen, bad things happen. He's real even keel, but he's another guy that's put in a lot of time and energy into preparing for the season, and it's really paying off right away. He's got great patience and poise in the pocket. There were times when the walls were coming down around him last weekend, and he still got the ball off, still made a good choice, still made the right decision, and he had a couple of good runs. And so he's, that clock in his head is going off at the right time, but he's also got the patience to go through his progression, find the right guys in the passing game. So he's doing a nice job of executing the offense.
Let's talk about your running back, Caleb Richard, too. He's been really solid for you through the first 2 games. And wide receiver Mike Robb's done a nice job for you as well. So with those 2 guys, how do you look to get your playmakers involved on offense? And maybe if the defense is keying on those 2 guys, how are you looking to kind of spread the ball around and get everyone involved?
Well, that's a great question because the key is finding the matchups that you can take advantage of it. And I have to admit, I have absolutely nothing to do with that. I help coach the wide receivers on offense. John Streeter, Keith Schulte, those guys are running the offense. So those are the guys, they look at the film, they look at what the defense might be giving us, and then they've got plan A, plan B, and plan C ready to go for each week. And those guys I think they do a tremendous job not only of getting our kids ready, but also adapting during the course of a game and finding what's there and being able to take advantage of that. And so really, you've got teams have a couple things to worry about when they play against us. As a defensive coach, I don't think I'd want to match up with us right now because our skill position guys are healthy and several of them can do some very good things. And so that's the challenge, is both preparation for the game and then during the game as the offensive play callers, finding those matchups, and then for the kids to execute when their number gets called.
And your defense has looked really solid as well, having a good week 1 against Mount Pleasant, then pitching a shutout last weekend against Bay City Western. What have you seen on the other side of the ball from your defense that's really pleased you?
Well, we've really had we've really got a couple of guys back on defense that we knew what they were going to give us. Skylar Contardi back there in the secondary at safety. That guy's he's kind of the general back there in terms of getting things set. But we've had some juniors and a couple of sophomores that we're already getting some early value out of that we weren't sure, how soon are they going to be ready to play varsity football, and they've stepped into their roles. And we had a defensive back, a senior, Connor Doyle, who moved to nose guard this year. So now he's playing on the defensive line, and he's given us a lot of great value down there. Plays with a lot of heart. heart and a lot of energy and flies to the ball. And, you got Caleb in the middle of the mix. So he plays part-time on defense, so he can step in there. But really the great thing is we've seen some of the veteran guys who played 11 ball games last year. They're giving us exactly what they can give us, and sometimes more, honestly. Skyler surprises me sometimes. And then these younger guys have stepped in, I don't want to say earlier than can be expected, but it's been a pleasant surprise how quickly so many of them have stepped forward and been ready to go.
And you have Saginaw Heritage this week. Some playmakers on offense for them, and Brian Cole, Jalen Young, players like that. As you've prepped for week 3, what have you seen from Heritage on film prepping for this week?
You named it right there. I mean, you've got Brian Cole, you got Brian playing slot, you've got him playing wide receiver, you've got him playing tailback. So how are you going to adjust to where he is within the scheme each time? And, as a defensive coach, our philosophy is that, we're a bend don't break defense. We don't want to give the big play. Well, Brian and Jalen Young are guys that are very capable of the big play every time they get their hands on the ball. So it's got to be great assignment football. It's got to be great pursuit angles. It's got to be the guys up front on the ground doing their job, breaking down blocks and making them change their feet and change direction. And so we're going to be very conscious of where those guys are. You'll see our guys out on the field pointing them out to each other, wherever they are, trying to have great communication, and then just be as fundamentally sound as we can and keep them inside in front of us.
Coach, good luck this week.
Thank you very much.